Eviogene Jesumuyiwa, the founder and CEO of Evi Atelier, a globally recognized women's wear brand specializing in bridal and evening dresses, with clients in over 13 countries and showcases at prestigious events like the Vows and Veils Bridal Fair in Kenya and the Oakfield Bridal Expo in South Africa. Evi Atelier has become a major player in the international fashion scene. Evi's journey is as remarkable as it is inspiring. A first-class graduate of business administration from Covenant University, she further honed her skills at the OSC College of Fashion, the London College of Fashion, and the International Business Management Institute in Germany. She is also the co-founder of the Evi Training Center, which has trained over 1,000 students since 2017. Enthronement Assembly, welcome Eviogene Jesumuyiwa.
Okay, so today we're talking about establishing a thriving business. First off, I believe everybody here is either a fresh graduate or rounding up with school, or you just started a business. So I have tailored my talk today to people in the startup phase or in the early phase of their business. And I'm going to be using, okay, my slide is not up, but I'll just read from my notes. I'm going to be using my life experiences, my business experiences so far. I'm not necessarily going to be talking from things I've learned from a book or stuff, but from things I have experienced, things I think have helped me in my business so far. So the introduction, first, before you talk about building a thriving business, you need to first be sure that it's the right business for you. Okay, it's up now. You need to first be sure that it's the right business for you. You should have the passion or talent for it and know without a doubt that it is what you're meant to do based on your inner conviction. So before you choose a business that, okay, this is what I want to go into, it should not be something that you're going into probably because you have seen someone that is doing it and is doing it well, or because your family encouraged you to do it, or a friend or something. It should be something that on your inside, you are very sure that this is what I was made for. This is what I want to do. You need that inner conviction because in the long run, you have the good and the bad days. And on those bad days, it's that inner conviction that will keep you going, that would help you ensure that your business can stand the test of time and thrive. So I attached a picture. I intentionally put this so that I can talk about why I felt I was sure of what I wanted to do. So after I finished school, I told my parents I wanted to learn how to sew. And they were a bit confused, particularly my dad. He was like, "You want to learn how to sew?" Personally, I know that I love making things with my hands. I love everything about needle and thread, making dresses, designing, and so on. So I knew that, okay, this is what I have passion for. There is no point going to learn, get a job. Let me just learn how to sew and start my career. But my dad kept saying stuff like, "You finish with a first class. You can get scholarship and go for masters. You can be sponsored from Delta State and this and that." But I'm like, I want to learn how to sew. So I noticed that there was a lot of doubt in my parents because they were not sure if I knew what I wanted to do. I even remember that, sorry, I'm going to be using a lot of my stories, but it will make sense at the end. I remember that there was a time when my mom's friends came around. I had already set up a room in the house to, use my needle and thread and sew. And then they came, and after greeting my mom, when my mom had gone upstairs or so, they came to the sewing room and met me there. And one of them was like, "So after all your Covenant University, after all your first class, you want to be sewing?" And that really triggered me. And I felt like, okay, since people don't believe that you can actually be a tailor or a designer and make it, I'm going to prove to them that I will make it. Because at least I've seen other people that do this thing and are making it. So because I knew my parents were not sure if I knew what I wanted to do, I had to create a plan to present to them. That's the board that is here. It's still actually written. It can't be cleaned anymore because it's now permanent. It has been there for so long. So I wrote my plan for what I wanted to do before NYSC, during NYSC, after NYSC. And I broke it down. I put examples of brands that I've seen do it, both local brands and international brands. And then I took the board to my parents to go and present it to them one night in the parlor. And by the time I was done breaking down everything to them, they clapped for me because they felt like, okay, this person knows what she wants to do. So at that point, they were willing to actually support me. So all of this is just to explain to you that before you choose a business, ensure that in your heart of hearts, you are sure that this is what you want to do, so that in the long run, you will not be put down by any wavy circumstance. Okay, so moving on now. What is a thriving business? Next slide. What's a thriving business? So a simple definition is a thriving business is one that enjoys profit, growth, and expansion. Now, profit is financial gain when your income is higher than your expenses. So as a business, if you are enjoying profit every year, it means that business is thriving. Then growth is the process of making a business bigger. So for example, if you're making dresses or maybe you're styling hair and you're now enjoying an increased number of patronage, more customers and so on, that means your business is growing. You've probably employed more people, that means your business is growing and it's a thriving business. And then expansion. This can be in form of opening new branches, forming an alliance with another company, offering new products or services, and so on. So expansion is after growth. So you started at the beginning, you're enjoying financial gain. After a while, you're experiencing more customers, more patronage. You're able to hire more hands. And now you're in the expansion phase. You're able to open another branch. You're able to partner with someone in another country. You're able to offer new products and new services. So if a business is enjoying all of this, that's when we say, okay, yes, this business is thriving. And this happens over time. It might not happen in the first 1 to 5 years. It might happen in the first 10 years. So that is what a thriving business is. And I'm sure that everyone here that is interested in starting a business would love to have a business that would thrive and stand the test of time. So next slide, establishing a thriving business requires both practical and spiritual actions. If you're a member of Enthronement Assembly, you must have heard Reverend talk about it time and again, that you cannot just face the spiritual side of your life or of your business and leave the practical. And you can't just face the practical aspect and leave the spiritual. You have to be able to strike a balance between both of them. So I've listed a couple of things. It's not limited to this, what you do, but this is what we can have time to talk about today. So I've listed some practical steps to helping your business grow and thrive. And I've also listed some spiritual steps. And we're going to talk about all of them one after the other. So next slide, practical steps. The first one I've written here is master your craft. That's the same thing Reverend just finished talking about. He spoke about competence. If you build a business that will thrive, before you even begin, go and enroll to get the trainings that you need, the trainings that are necessary for you to run that business. Because the quality of what you are offering has to be very good for you to enjoy increased demand, increased patronage. There are many reasons why you must master your skill before you begin. An example, for me now, I learned how to sew. I went to fashion school. I first learned by the roadside for 2 months, and then eventually I went to a proper fashion school and learned for 6 months. So I know how to make dresses. Like, I know my craft. I didn't just hire people. There are people that feel like you can just open your store, hire people that will do everything for you. But the thing now is, sometimes they would actually doubt your instructions if they know that you don't know how to do what you're telling them to do. So the fact that you know what you're telling them to do is enough reason for them to listen to you. So there are times when I will hire someone, probably a new tailor or a cutter, and there is a design we're supposed to make, and I say, okay, do it this way, cut it this way, or sew it this way. And she's like, Ma, it's not going to work. I'm like, it's work. Go and do it. Ma, it's not going to work. I'm like, okay. Seems this person doesn't know that I know what I'm doing. And then I either go on the machine or go to the cutting table or anything, and I do it myself. And then like, oh, okay. So by the time that happens like 2-3 times, they know that, okay, when you give an instruction, it's because you know what you are saying. You are speaking from a point of knowledge. So it is important that you actually get the skills that are required for whatever craft it is you want to do and learn it well. You might not be able to learn everything under somebody because it takes time, it takes practice. But you have to put in the practice that is required for whatever skill or whatever business it is you want to start. The next one is to value branding, right? So branding is the promotion of a particular product or company by means of advertising and distinctive design. Branding is all about how you want your business to be perceived. What do people think of when they see or hear about your business? How do you want them to feel when they relate with your business, when they see your business? Branding is continuous. It's a continuous process. It's not something you just do at the beginning and stop. So how people perceive your business, how they see it, what they feel, how they imagine it is. That's what branding is about. There are a lot of things that play when it comes to branding. The colors you choose, the theme you choose, the ambience of your space, if you have a space, even the look of your social media page. They all point to branding, your packaging, and so on and so forth. So I'll give an example, a random example. So imagine you want to buy jollof rice, or you want to buy food, and you go to the roadside, a booker by the road, and you order jollof rice and beef or egg or something. And by the time they are done packing it, they tell you your bill is 2,500 or 3,000. You might start arguing, like, okay, how much is the rice? How much is the meat? How much is the egg? Because I'm like, why am I paying 2,500 or 3K? But you go to a well-branded restaurant, probably the place or something, the place restaurant, and you go there, and you ask to buy jollof rice and beef and egg, the same thing you will buy by the roadside. And then by the time they've packed it up and they're giving you, they tell you your bill is 8,000 or 8,500 or 9K. You will not drag them because you have seen that their staff, they're all wearing uniform. There is AC. The nylon is branded. The takeaways, the tissue, the serviette is branded. You won't drag them, even if the rice is smaller than the one you bought by the roadside. What is the difference? It's not just the building. It's the fact that they have branded. So the fact that they have branded, they can charge more. Even when you are coming inside, you will know that it's not that 2,500 you paid by the road that you pay here. You would have a price at the back of your mind. So that's what branding does. And that's why you have to focus on branding your business. There are many stages about branding. You can research to know more. You can talk to a friend that is into digital marketing, branding, and so on to know more. Because when you brand your business well, you'll be able to charge what you are worth. Right? Particularly if you want to attend to or you want to serve the luxury or the middle class markets, you need to work on your branding. Another example I'd give for this branding is when my business was still in Agbara. So my business started in Agbara in my parents' house in the boys' quarters. So it was 2 rooms, like a room and a parlor, the BQ. So I made the parlor my showroom. I put a wallpaper. Wallpaper was a thing then. I put wallpaper on one wall. The other wall was plain. And the other room was like my sewing table and everything. But where I was very far. Agbara is far. And I was inside an estate, inside a BQ. So there was no way anybody would know that somebody is sewing clothes here. So I was focused on social media. I was focused on the content I was putting on social media so that to reach the audience that I truly wanted to patronize me. So because I was focused on social media, and I know that the ambience, the look of your page, the kind of pictures you post would determine the people that are attracted to you, I was very intentional about the pictures I was posting. So there was a bride that came all the way from Lagos to patronize me in Agbara. And she was going to make a reception dress. So by the time we had discussed, she had showed me the styles and everything, I gave her a price. I think it was 13K or 15K. And she was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes, that's the price." And she said, "Really, are you serious?" And I was like, "Is it above your budget?" Then she said, "It's cheap. It's really cheap." I was like, "Oh, okay." And she said, "When I saw your page and everything, I was really thinking, like, okay, no problem." So, but from that day, I knew that first of all, I had to increase my price. And I knew that I had already started creating a perception in people's minds without even seeing me, without coming to my place, to know that, okay, yes, when you go here, you're going to be charged and you're going to pay. So before they even come, they are prepared to pay. So my point is how you package your business, how it looks like physically and online, the kind of pictures you post. If you send me a picture, if I make a dress for you and you send me a picture and it's not fine, I won't post it. I probably will not even put it in story because I am intentional about what I'm posting. And most times, before I even send a dress to a customer, I will snap it because I know that I'm not sure if they will give me a good picture. So even when taking a picture of the dress, there's a way I would arrange it on the dress form. If I need to scatter everywhere just to get a good shot, add more lights and so on, it's just the fact that you shouldn't just do things anyhow because you're trying to be intentional about what you're putting out there. And it's very important, particularly when you don't have a physical space. You're just dwelling on your online presence. So please, branding. And now I've mentioned a couple of aspects that I think are very important in branding. For example, your brand name, your logo, your color themes, your fonts, packaging, and so on. I'll start with your name. So branding your business, you're not supposed to change your name. It's not expected that when you started, your name was Evie, and after a while, your name has become Shubomi. You're supposed to use that Evie all the way for the rest of eternity. So choose a name that you're sure would stand, that you are not going to have to change. And if you are not sure, because it actually takes a lot of brainstorming to come up with a brand name. So if you come up with maybe 1 or 2 options and you're not sure which one to fly with, you can talk to someone. You can talk to a friend that you think has bad mouth. They might just be a good critic. Because by the time they listen to you, they will tell you, don't use this name. It sounds like another brand name. Or it's reminding me of makeup when you're doing, when you're doing something else. So when you think of a name, always run it through somebody before you go and register it. Because if you just feel like, oh, I'm very sure I like the name, and you go and register it, and then by the time people hear it, they're like, the name doesn't make sense, or it's sounding funny. So choose a good brand name, or choose some options, run it through critics before you settle on one. Then the next one, your logo. Once you've gotten a brand name, you can then register. You should register before you design the logo. Because if you have a brand name and you go do a logo without registering with CAC, by the time you've done your logo and you started posting it and people have seen that this is my logo, then you choose to register and they tell you, no, the name is taken. You'll be back to square one. I had a friend like that. She had printed bags. She had done cloth labels. She had done a lot. And everything had to waste because she had to start all over. So you have chosen a name. You do a logo. And please, don't do your logo yourself, except you are a graphics designer. Don't use any app that will just, type in what you want and to generate a logo. Why? I don't know, maybe there are like proper apps that will really do that now. But if you do that, there's a very high tendency that the logo you come up with, you and like 50 other people on your street will have the same logo. Do you get my point? So just, it's business, so you have to invest here and there. So that one is an investment. Because your logo is also not supposed to change. It's supposed to stand the test of time. So you've gotten your name and it makes sense, do your logo and let your logo, anyway, I've said that already. Let it be a good person that would do it. Because there are some logos that would remind you of something. You might see a logo and you just think makeup artist, right? You just think makeup artist, beauty, spa. That shouldn't be a logo for somebody that is doing maybe tech or something. So just give someone that is good to do your logo. Now, your color themes, your fonts, your color theme, when you choose a set of colors at the beginning of your business, stick to those colors. It would help to send your brand message faster. If you check my page, for example, the colors I work with are white, black, and gray. Even if we do a new flyer, it will still be within those colors. So that way, our page, our space physically, everything is aligned with the color theme that we have chosen. You come today, you are red. Tomorrow, your flyer is blue. Next tomorrow is yellow. You will not register in people's subconscious. That brand will not register. So choose your color theme and stick to it. Then even your fonts, there should be like a selected number of fonts you work with every time. Even if it's not the exact same font, it's still similar to that same font. And your packaging. There is a whole lot when it comes to branding. Like I said, it is continuous. You do it forever and ever. But just stay true to whatever brand it is you are trying to build. Because by the time you brand your business well, you'll be able to charge what you're worth. Yes, so I'll move to the next one. I don't know my time. Okay. So I'll move to the next one now, and that is be consistent. Next slide. Be consistent. So here, the first thing I wrote is create regularly to show your ability. So I usually say a lot that you don't have to wait. For example, if you're a designer, I'm sorry I'm using designs because that's what I do, but I'm sure you can relate it to whatever it is you want to do. So if you're a designer, for example, don't wait until you get an order from a customer before you make a design and post it or wear it. Because if you keep waiting, people most likely will bring someone else's design to you. And then nobody gets to see that you're creative. And you might even wait a long time because you don't know when the next customer is coming. But then if you are consistent enough to say, okay, I have these 2 yards, what can I do with it? You make something nice and post it. They know me in the studio that I can just wake up tomorrow and say, there's one dress we want to make. It's not because it's for anybody. It's just because I want to be consistent. People need to keep seeing your brand name. You need to keep posting and sharing. Particularly now that everything's about content, everything's about digital age and so on. You have to register in people's minds. You cannot post today and tomorrow you have disappeared. So the first one, create regularly to show your ability. When you create stuff, people know that, okay, yes, they can do this also, not just the regular thing that they've been seeing you do. Then the next one is improve to remain relevant. For example, if you learned something in fashion school or when you were training, and then 2 to 3 years down the line, you're still doing the same thing that you learned. You learned A-line skirts and square necklines. and 2 years later, you started your business, you are still, the dresses you sew, we are still seeing that it's still similar to what you were doing since. You are not improving. And if you are not improving, you will not remain relevant. So whatever it is you are doing, ensure that you are improving. Whatever you do next should be better than what you did previously, right? So the next one is post regularly to register your brand in people's minds. I think I've said something similar at number 1. So there are a lot of people that feel like they don't know how to use social media. I don't like posting. It's going to weaken your business. That's the truth. If you post today and then you wait 2 weeks before you post again, or you wait 1 month before you post again, people are going to forget about your business. And by the time you come back, they just be like, this person is still there. So you have to post regularly. Except you have a store now that people can just walk by and notice you. Then you might not even need social media if you choose not to. But if your business is not yet out there in a place that people can just walk into, you should ensure that you use social media to your advantage and you post regularly. I used it a lot. Even till now, I still use social media because I know that it will help you to reach the people that are far away from your physical place of work. For an example there now is when my business was in Akowonjo. From Agbara, I moved my business to Akowonjo. And when I got to Akowonjo, I felt like, oh, wow, finally I'm in Lagos. Because when I was in Agbara, there are a lot of people that would not come all the way there to patronize me. So I was very excited to have moved to Akowonjo. And there was a balcony. So I felt like, okay, I can display my mannequin and my dress forms in the balcony for people that are passing by to patronize me. But after the first week, when I put the dress forms outside, the kind of people that were coming inside, the first person that came inside said, oh, I saw this thing in your balcony. Okay, so if you want to make something like that for me, how much? And I think it was 12K. It was not so expensive. I said 12K, and the woman was like, 12K. Oh, wow. Can I pay 3 times? Like, you want to pay 3 times? 12K. Okay, no problem. I just felt like it was a one-off. He told her, it's not possible. The least you can do is 2 times. I still put another thing outside. Not long after, another person came. I said, that one was even a tailor. He said, you are a tailor. He first priced everything and said, you have to join our association. If you are in this place, you have to, and you'll be coming for meeting them. Everything was not just adding up. I'm like, these are not the kind of people that I have, a vision for. So after that, I just packed my mannequins inside. I said, let me focus on social media. Because I know that if I put things on social media and I try to target, I present it in a nice way, and I do ads, it will reach the people that are in the US, people that are in Lekki, that can actually afford what I want to do. And those people might not need to come to you. They'll just buy online. So that was the point of, yes, putting your stuff posting your brand so that you register in people's subconscious. Yeah, so next, I'm talking about be focused. I'm saying you have to be focused. As an entrepreneur, as a business person, you have to be focused. You should have a dream in your mind. You should have a big dream that will determine your vision, right? The vision that you have for your business, and consistently work towards it. So take, for example, let me use fashion design again. You're a fashion designer. I'll think of something else soon. But take, for example, you're a fashion designer, and in the back of your mind, you know that my dream is very big. My plan is in the next 10 years, I should have a store in East Africa. I should have a store in West Africa. I should have a store in South Africa, and a store in other major parts of the world like Europe, America, and so on. That's a big dream that you have in your head, right? So because you have that dream and you have that vision, it would push you to consistently work towards it. Because, I've not gotten to that dream that I had in my head. I know the kind of store I want to have. I know what I want it to look like. I know I want to have, 1,000 employees or whatever. I know I want to be the biggest designer in Africa or something. So you must have a big picture in your mind. You are the business owner. Nobody will do that for you. None of your staffs will have that big picture for you. So it has to come from within. You have to have that in your mind and work towards it consistently. It might not be easy, but you would always have to put in the work, right? So once you have that dream, all you should be thinking of is, what do I need to do to take my business to the next stage at every point in time? So no matter where you are right now, you are in a phase in your business, you're in a stage. So the major stages in business are the early stage, the growth stage, and the maturity stage. So I believe that most of us are either in the early or the growth phase. So you are constantly thinking that at this phase, what is the next step? What do I need to do? It could be like a yearly goal. What do I need to do for my business to take it to the next step? It could be that, okay, the next thing I want to do is to open a store. How can you open a store? You need money, right? So you know you need money. There's probably no source of finance. Because for me, for example, it's personal savings or family. If I getting loan from bank or friends, I don't like it because there's a lot of drama that comes with it. So you know that you need to save, which means you need to either do more adverts to get more customers to save money. But you have a plan that you're working towards. And it's not going to be so easy. I remember when I first opened my store in Lekki, for like the first 2 months, I started asking myself, who sent me? Because I had spent all of my savings just to set up that space. But I did that because I knew that this is part of my dream. This is what I want for this business. After doing that, I started questioning myself. Because for the first month, people would just come and look and go. And because I also know that when we opened that place, we didn't have many great dresses. Because I had spent all the money setting up. So there was really no money to make dresses. I just carried what I had and put it there. So I knew that I had to do extra work to get people. It's either I'm creating new stuff or I'm doing adverts. So there were times that I would say, I have to collaborate with somebody. I'll call a makeup artist, reach out to a photographer, make one dress, and go and do shoots. I'll leave mainland where I am and go to Lekki to do shoots. Sometimes I'll do shoots in the night before I'll come back home. So it will not always be convenient, right? But you have to put in that work because you know that you have a dream that you are chasing. There are times that we would have to do the shoot in the night because there's a way the place looks in the night that is finer compared to during the day. And I just give him birth. I'll go with my baby. I'll back my baby. I'll go with the younger one because there's nobody to leave them with at that time. And we'll get to the island. We'll do the shoot. We'll be going back home. They'll be sleeping. They'll be crying. It was a whole lot of stress. But after I made those contents, like 1 or 2, I noticed that it actually pulled traffic. It pulled traffic. Like it's converted to actual sales. So that's what makes me know that, okay, yes, when you put in the work, there will be reward for it. Customers will patronize. You can't just stay and just have the ideas and keep them in your mind. You have to do them. Because I'm sure we all have ideas of what to do. You have the idea, okay, I can do this. You even see some people do it. I feel like I can do this thing too. But to do it, you don't get to execute it. You just leave it in your mind. You have to push yourself to ensure that you execute whatever it will take to bring customers and to increase your sales. Right? So that's all driving the point that you have to be focused. Don't be comfortable remaining on one level for a long time. Once you know that my shop has been in this place, it's already going to 2 years, or I don't even have a store, and I know that this business needs a store, you should start thinking and researching, what should I do next so that I can have a store? So don't be comfortable at one phase for too long. Now, the next one I'll talk about, another practical step to ensure that you build your business and that it will thrive, is costing and saving. Doing your costing and saving. So costing is all about estimating your prices accurately. Right? Instead of you just guessing or checking what is in the market, what are people charging, and just choose your own price, you should be able to do your costing. Costing is a full topic. It's a lot of calculations. But when you do it, you would arrive at the true price of your product. For fashion designers, for example, there are people that when you give them fabric or when you give them an order, you want to make a dress, what they will calculate is the materials that they will buy, and they will just add labor, and then they will give you that as your price. They have forgotten that they will pay rent, they will pay for electricity, they probably have a staff or somebody that will bid the dress that they will pay, and a whole lot. All of that is called overhead. And overhead, most times, is more than 50% of the actual cost of your production. So why would you leave out overhead and just charge for materials and labor? So you need to ensure that you do your costing properly so that your prices are accurate. When your prices are accurate, it means you have created room for profit. And when you have profit, you have something to save for the business to grow. So ensure that your products are properly priced. If you need to study on costing, please do that. But ensure that at every point in time, the price you are giving is what you are worth. So that's the next point, charge what you are worth. There are people that even after doing the costing, by the time they arrive at the price, they'll be like, this price is too much. Because when we are teaching costing, there are things we put into consideration. If you have a shop now and you want to calculate the cost of your product, we are going to include the electricity bill. We are going to include the money you pay for waste to Loma. We are going to include the price of TV. If there's TV in your store, maybe there's Go TV. We'll put it there. The fuel, generator, the cost of buying the generator, electricity. Even if there's tissue in your toilet, we'll put the price of the tissue. If you give people bottled water, we'll put the price. So by the time we're done doing all of that, they now see the price. They're like, we can't charge this, so people will not pay. People will pay. If they don't pay, you'll be selling at a loss. So except you want to, maybe reduce your profit a bit, but all those things need to be put into consideration. And when you do your costing, it gives you a clear conscience to tell people your price. Because you're not just calling a price from your head. It's based on what you have invested in your business or the costs that you incur. So try to do your costing so that your prices are correct and charge what you're worth. Now, create a savings routine. This part is for everybody, no matter what you're doing, whether it's career or business. A savings routine is compulsory. If you're going to be able to take giant steps or, expand or buy new machineries into your business, you must have cultivated a good habit of saving. And it should be from every single thing that is coming in. The way I save like, I'm not even going to spend on production. If a customer should pay me now, let's say they pay 100K, I can save 70K out of that 100K, and I will lock it, maybe in piggy vest or something. Just because I know that money can disappear. If you leave it in that account till the end of the day, they will say they want to buy trade, they want to buy learning, and the account will go to, where did I spend this money? You start thinking, maybe they just paid me 100K, where is it? So immediately it comes in, I will save whatever percentage that you choose to save. Immediately you lock it, and once it's locked, you can't touch it until probably a long time. And even in these days now, they've taught us that you should convert your money to USD. So if money should come in, I can carry it, go and convert it to USD and keep it. So that whenever it is you choose to withdraw it, it will have increased in value to whatever it was. Savings is very important. I always hammer on it because it's something that I know that it has helped me. If I want to buy a new machine, out of my savings, I'll be able to do that. If I want to open a new store, out of savings, I'll be able to do that. So cultivate a habit of saving money from whatever comes in. Don't say it's too small, it's not enough. Even if it's 10K and you want to save 1K out of it, that's something. If you do that back to back, after a while, the money is going to pile up. So ensure that you are saving so that when you have good opportunities, right? There are some times that you have saved money and you were thinking of opening a store, but you didn't see the one you liked or the one you saw the price was too high. You might be lucky at some point that a store that you've been eyeing will just open up. If you don't have that savings, you will not be able to get that store or whatever it is. So work at saving from every single thing that is coming to you, because in the long run, you are going to need that money and fall back to it. So next now is for you to build structure. So you should be professional and orderly. Talking about building structure, you've started your business. You've probably, either you're doing it alone or you've hired somebody. Try to be professional about everything you're doing and be orderly. One of the very first things I did was to get a separate phone number for my business from my number. Separate social media page for my business from my personal one. That just shows people that this business is serious. But if I come to your page and the first post that I see is you that is there, and the next one is your product, the third one is you again, your family, your house, it shows that this is not yet a business. When it's a business, there should be that separation. Open a separate page. At the early phase, you open that so that it's not be hard to separate it later on. Even the phone number, you separate it. At the early phase of my business, you cannot call me after 6 p.m. on the office line, because I will even leave it in the office so that people will not be calling me for clothes by 9 when I'm sleeping in the house. Do you understand? It's just now, anyway, that I've learned from Reverend that you should try to operate a system that has like 24/7 responses, particularly when you're targeting people in other countries, because when you're sleeping, that's when they're awake, right? But please ensure that what you are doing is professional and orderly. Part of the professional thing is to give consistent responses. They'll say, one person would inquire from you now, how much is this skincare product you are selling? And your price to this person is 10,000. Another person will come, how much is this same skincare product? And all of a sudden, the price is 15,000. That shows that you are not yet professional. You are not consistent. If you have a price, that same price you give this person is the price you give every single person. You will not go and first check their page and see, okay, they can afford it and inflate the price, or they are not in the country, inflate the price. It's going to be to your own detriment, because the day that two friends or husband and wife will message you, they will now send you a screenshot of what you have told the other person. So try to be professional, try to be orderly. Even in your price range, you should already have your price range predetermined. You can even design it on Canva, put it on a small flyer, so that when they ask you, what's the price of this product, what's the price of this, and that's not when you say, okay, give me a moment, and you start calculating. You already have it pre-designed. You just send it to them, send all the information, terms and conditions. It shows that that person's business is serious, and person is serious about what they're doing. So try to be professional, try to be orderly, build a team, and implement division of labor. So if you're building a business and you want the business to stand, to thrive and to stand the test of time, you will not be able to do it alone, definitely. You will need a team. Depending on what business it is, you might need a production team, it might be an administrative team, but you need a team. Once you have started hiring people, let everybody know their job description. Don't hire 3 people and they're all just doing any work that is available. There are different things that will lead to it. It will lead to confusion among them. And at some point, they might not even do anything because they don't know who is supposed to do it. And they might not even get good at any particular thing because they're doing everything. But if you get a team and you separate them, this person's job is to attend to customers. You're handling the phone. This one is cutting. This one is doing consultation. This one is buying fabric. This one is bidding. After a while, they would get very good at that stuff that you have told them to do, that specialization, because they have done it over and over and over again. And then even your production process will be faster. I've noticed it will be faster compared to when one person is doing everything. If you do that division of labor, it will be faster because once the person has done, they move it on to the next person. So ensure that you're building a team and you are implementing division of labor. Don't hire 2 people to just work and just say, is assistant, this person is assistant. No, everybody should have their clear-cut roles and their job description. Then encourage independence. You started hiring people, right? And you're giving them their job descriptions. Let them work without you being fully involved in what they are doing. That independence is the only way you can grow. Because if you have to be involved in what this person is doing, you have to check it, you have to correct it, every single person. You can't expand, you can't open another shop because you won't be able to split yourself and be there and be here at the same time. So at the point that you have hired 1 or 2 people or 3 people to do stuff, encourage them to work alone, to be independent, to ask each other, not always you, right? It's going to be difficult because they would always want to come back to you. But for example, in the studio, I have people that do everything. There's division of labor. And they might want to do something and then come and show me, Ma, is it correct? Ma, check this on. At times I'll tell them, I'm not around. Like I'll tell them to their face, I'm not around, can't figure it out. And after doing that for a while, I realized they won't come to me again. I'm the one that is now going to check. So it allows me to say, okay, today I'm not in Bagada in production, I'm going to Lekki. Tomorrow I'm not in Lekki, I'm going to fashion school. Because everybody that is everywhere is doing their stuff without me being fully involved. So you encourage independence at the point where you are building structure. So I have tried to run through some practical steps of building a business that will thrive. This is not all. This is just what we can talk about today. Now I'm going to talk about the spiritual part. Like I said earlier, if you're a member of Enthronement, you would have heard it several times, that you can't just do the practical and then leave the spiritual, or do the spiritual and leave the practical. You have to plan like there's no God, and you have to pray like you don't have a plan. So there must be a balance. So now the spiritual part. So I've listed 3 things here. The first one is for you to pray and confess over your business. The second one is service to God. And the third one is to pay your tithes and offerings. So I'll start from praying and confession. Always pray and confess over your business. So you've done all the practical things that you know you should do for this business to do well, for this business to start. Now you need to involve God in it. So far as you're a Christian. So it's either you're a Christian or it's either you're using God or you're using the other side. So if you're a Christian, you have an edge. Because if God is involved in your business, what you should achieve in 10 years, you can actually achieve it in 5 years. So at every point in time, always pray for your business and confess over your business. If I have not learned anything in Enthronement Assembly, I have learned that confession works. When we were in Necker House, we used to confess about SEC Cathedral, SEC every Sunday, every midweek, every event. We would confess. We were just saying, yes. Till the day we moved here. It was the crossover night we moved here that I knew that what we have been saying, it wasn't falling to the ground. This is what we have been talking about. And that was when I knew that confession is not a joke. So since January, personally now, since January this year, I started confessing over my business every midnight. So there are some nights that I might not wake up by 12. It might be 1 or 2 or 3. But so long as I wake up before 4 o'clock. I'll carry my confession. That confession we said, confession for business owners and entrepreneurs. I'll leave the room, I'll go to the parlor. I have a mat I use every day. I sit on the mat and I confess about my business. I say everything. Sometimes I go to the balcony. I feel like I'm closer to God and I'm talking and I'm looking to the sky. So I'll go to the balcony, I'm looking at the sky and be confessing. And I won't lie to you, it has really helped. It has changed a lot in my business. So try to put in confession into your daily routine for your business. Now, I'm not saying there are not some nights that I will sleep and I'll be like, God, I beg, this night, I'm not sure I can wake up to confess. There are times like that, I'm like, no. God, all the ones I've confessed, let you work in Jesus' name, and I sleep back. But there are days that when you have that energy, you just stand up, go and confess. And I'm sure it works because I've seen it work for SEC. And because I always have a thought, right? For people that don't believe in God, I don't know why they don't believe in God. Because you can see that there's evil. You can see evil. You see it happening every time. You see witches, you hear bad stuff. So why would there be no good? The fact that there is evil is enough proof that there is good. So I know that if the evil people can go out in the midnight, because where I stay, the Oba is very close to us, so they do a lot of oro and incantations. So if it can work for them, it means that midnight season is actually very important. So I go out in the midnight and I confess. And then when I wake up, I see the results of my confessions. There are times that maybe we've not had any customer for a while, and I'm like, what's happening? I'll just ask the admin, please give me the names of all our potential customers. And she will send it to me, and please put their son names. And I'll wake up in the night, and one by one, I'll call their names and I'll confess. And before you know it, people will start making payments. I'm like, yes, it's working. It cannot just be practical stuff. So please do the confession as much as, oh, thank you. That's encouraging. Okay, so yes, pray and confess. I put a couple of scriptures to back that up. I'll just read it randomly. So the first one, Proverbs 16:3. I'm rushing because of time. Proverbs 16:3. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established. So that means just commit your business into God's hand, and all the plans that you have for it will come to pass. Deuteronomy 28, verse 8. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thy hand to do, or settest thy hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God has given thee. Then Proverbs 12, verse 14. A man shall be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hands shall be rendered unto him. So that's just all about praying and confession for your business. Now, service to God. Service to God, yeah. So there is a scripture in Exodus chapter 8, verse 20 to 23, that talks about the fact that God always puts a distinction between those that serve him and those that do not serve him. So this was about the Israelites when they were in Egypt, and God was trying to take them out of Egypt to go and serve him, and Pharaoh was refusing. So God sent flies, thick flies, swarms of flies to Egypt, and it was everywhere. The only place that was exempt from those swarms was Goshen, where the Israelites were staying, people that serve God. So that scripture just reminds me that no matter what is going on around us in the country, everybody is complaining, this one is that. We're not doubting the fact that, yes, the prices of everything has skyrocketed, yes, but then it means that it will not affect you. It will not affect your business because you serve God. So the fact that people are closing down their businesses is not working, the prices are going higher, that's when you will start hiring people. When people are complaining that they're closing down, that's when you're hiring, that's when you're increasing salaries. Do you understand? So the fact that you serve God means that your business will be exempt from all the realities that are going on around us. So let me move to tithes and offerings. Right? I put one scripture there. Malachi 3:10. Bring ye all the tithes into my storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, said the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be enough room to receive it. I love this scripture so much because I know that once I tithe and I do my part and I've paid my offerings, I'm going to have more customers than we can legit handle. So that is why I always pay my tithes. And this one has actually worked for me. It's hard for somebody to tell me not to pay my tithes because I have been doing it and I have seen it work. So I'll be very honest, right? As of last year, before September last year, I used to pay my tithe for my business. But at the end of the month, when you have paid salaries, it's not very easy to gather the correct tithe and pay. So I'll just pay that, okay, God, I beg, this is the tithe, and pay it like that. But at that phase of my business, we can have customer this week, and for the next 3 weeks, no patronage. Maybe somebody just come and buy something of 5,000 naira. I'm like, is that how I'll pay salaries? So it used to be very on and off when my tithe was not fully accurate. So I decided in September last year, I decided that this monthly tithing is not working for me because at the end of the month, that's when I'm also paying salaries. So it might not come out. So I decided that let me pay my tithe every week. That's what I told God September. Like, it's easier to do it every week. And what that also means is I was committing God to ensure that I have customers every week. Because if you don't send customers my way throughout the week, it means no tithe that week. And from that September up until now, it's more than a year now, there has not been 1 week that we will not have customers, that we will not have. I was so shocked that it could actually work, right? So another thing about tithing, oh, thank God it's my time. So another thing about tithing, because I saw that this thing is working, I know that I cannot stop every week, either Sunday or somewhere in the week, I'll send my tithe. And I told God that, okay, I want to push it up a bit. I want to be able to tithe in a week. I told God that by July this year, I want to be able to pay in a week 1 million naira as tithe, which means I want to have an income in a week of 10 million naira. That was me pushing my luck far, right? But with God, you can actually push your luck. And I noticed that it happened in May, way before July, that I actually paid a tithe of over 1 million naira in a week. So I was like, this thing works. Nobody can tell me otherwise. They can't tell me to stop it. Because when I was not tithing, we're on and off. Customer this week, no customer for another 3 weeks. I prefer this one. Let me tithe. If you tell me I'm overpaying God, it's good. God cannot owe any man. So let me overpay him. He will pay me back. So I do it regularly. So pay your tithes, pay your offerings. Practice all the covenant teachings that they teach us in this house because it actually does work. The word of God does not lie. Yeah, thank you. So that's that. So my summary, yes, establishing a thriving business requires both practical and spiritual actions. I have listed some. So I'm going to end by saying, make sure that you are intrinsically motivated about your business because this would increase the chances of your business thriving. I think we get what that means. Make sure that it's from the inside because that's when the business will thrive. Thank you so much. Thank you.